In this video, I'm going to introduce two drills that I often use together for my patients with lumbar disc issues. Typically, I introduce my patients to these movements after manual therapy, especially if it works well, with the idea being that if I can take the manual work, counter strain, muscle energy, whatever, and connect it to some training, the chance of the injury reoccurring goes down, getting the patients more independence from me. We're going to focus on the elephant walks first, but there's a very specific technique I want to apply to the end range of movement. Let's take a look at how the setup goes. You can adjust the block to whatever height you need. I put my arms behind my head and fold forward first so that I can make sure I get enough lumbar extension and anterior pelvic tilt to get into the right position. From there, I can switch between one leg at a time or getting it done both legs at a time, depending on what my level of comfort is. But something that I'm doing here, and I don't know if you can quite see it, is I'm making it a point to contract my quads as hard as I can at the end of the stretch, with the idea being that I want to learn how to use my strength, in my quads specifically, my hip flexors, at the end of my active range of motion. This is a couple things. One, it increases my active range of motion, but two, it forces my quads and hamstrings to be more supple in a broader range. Keep in mind that a lot of tension on the lumbar discs comes from the hip flexors, the quads, the psoas, the adductors being excessively tight. That same principle is going to be applied to the cat-cow into frog pose combination. What I'm doing here is using the cat-cow to help me set up a better frog, right? Oftentimes, if you just kind of jump into the frog pose, your back might be out of position and might feel awkward for your lumbars. What I'm using the cat-cow to do is force me to get into a neutral pelvis. And once I find that position, now I can begin to do the frog correctly, focusing on external rotation for the hips, not as much as on the adductors themselves. Now that would sound a bit counterintuitive, right? The frog pose is typically an adductor exercise, yes. But if you focus on just getting your legs further apart, on just stretching the adductors, you're going to do a lot of weird things with your back to create a deeper stretch sensation. Again, the goal isn't to move your legs further apart per se, it's to get better conscious use of your adductors, and to do that, we're focusing on a different cue, in this case, the external rotation. On that note, once we are past the frog pose, something to add on is fire hydrant drills. And if you watch my foot position here, I'm making a point to try to keep my toes pointed out. I'm trying to actively externally rotate my entire thigh as I raise the leg, prevent my toes from pointing towards the ground, essentially. And that gives me more conscious use of the system. Again, to do that correctly, I have to learn how to relax my adductors. So focusing on the skill of external rotation and abduction entrains correct adduction relaxation. And as you get stronger, you just add load and move on.